Welcome to another episode of This Was a Star Wars Podcast. I'm Michael.
I'm Nikki.
And I'm Mickett.
And today we are talking about our friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man. I think we could just jump right into No Way Home. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it. First of all, why are you watching this if you haven't seen it? That's your fault.
Yeah, and what kind of person are you that you haven't watched it yet? You garbage, filthy human being.
So despite all of the hype, despite everything that came into it, I still fucking loved it. I loved every minute of it. I was a fan of the trio coming together. The back and forth at the Statue of Liberty is probably one of the best scenes in the movie. But I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Oh no. No, absolutely. 100% one of the most fantastic fucking movies I've ever seen. Oh my God.
Troll. You fucking
From
troll.
beginning to end. Wow. As great as the Statue of Liberty was, it could have ended in like the first 20 minutes when fucking Charlie Cox comes in as Matt motherfucking Murdock. The movie could have ended right there and I would have been amazing film. Amazing. Perfect.
Oh my God. When he catches the brick and he's like, I'm a really good lawyer. I was like, oh!
Once you saw like his little walking stick, I was the first person in that theater to be like, oh!
There's a guy next to me who was like, is that fucking Daredevil? And everyone else was like, shut the fuck up.
This was the first time, and I feel like forever, that like there was so much hype behind a movie. Like everybody was pumped and talking about all kinds of things. And normally that leads down a very, very not great road. But I watched it and I was like, oh, it was exactly how everyone thought it was going to be. It's fucking, yeah, like that was it. Like we didn't want any more or less. This is what every other movie that had like an awesome ass sequel to it should have done. It should have just done this. Just put Spider-Man in.
Yeah.
Going to favorite scenes though, I did want to add on to this. Like, you said the Statue of Liberty. Excuse me. Mine was Peter's first fight with Green Goblin. Like in the apartment complex, they had one scene where like he's on his shoulders punching him, and Goblin goes from like this scared face to this horrific smile. And I remember getting just such chills, like yes.
I honestly,
I just got him right now while you were talking about that. Oh,
honestly, I feel like the way that this one was done, the way that they brought characters in was so. It was like whoever did this fucking watched the show a lot, because it was like one of my favorite parts was the way that the Green Goblin was first introduced, with like the little grenade thing on the floor, and then the creepy laugh, and I was like, yo, this is some cartoon ass shit, but like done really fucking well.
Yeah.
I also think that exactly like you were saying, Mickett, the way that they implemented all the characters, like they didn't just like throw them all in at once.
Yeah.
They allowed it to like organically blend and fill in. The best one of the introductions of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, though, like with oh man, why did his name just jump out of my head? When he had the ring, when Ned does opens the portals.
Yeah.
And fucking, I'm glad they led with Andrew Garfield, because he was the one everyone was like, we're not sure if he's going to be in this. Like he's been so secretive about all of this. And then like when Mary Jane is throwing the bread at him and he's like, I have the tingle, but I don't, it's not for bread. But overall, I loved it. I thought they did a phenomenal job, like taking in all of the aspects of the different Spider-Man, like together, working together, and how one of them's like when they're together after they've had the failure of them trying to take down them all at once, and he's like, I know you guys are used to working by yourselves, but I've worked with the team. I was part of the Avengers, not to brag or anything. And they're like, that's awesome. What are the Avengers?
Is that a rock band?
That a rock? Oh man, like it's the subtleties of it that made it perfect. And like I was going in like ready to be disappointed because of how hyped it was, and you know, I was blown away.
Something I thought was really interesting, and it took me a second to notice when we were watching the movie, but like when they put Osborn in that like that sweatsuit thing that he's sitting in, right? And like I was like, that's a strange set of clothes to jump into. Like, who just happens to have that around? And then when it got blown up, it all fucked up, and it was just the purpley fucking piece. And I was like, oh, I see what you did there. Okay.
Throwbacks.
Yeah, it's weird, but I love it.
I was picturing the Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Oh
yeah.
The other thing about it too is I feel like it was true to what they wanted to, like, it showed what the universe is going to become. And now that they've introduced the multiverse fully, now I think this one locks it in to allow for whatever's about to happen in the next phase.
Yeah, which is kind of scary and confusing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like hard enough to take track of everybody in just the MCU that we're paying attention to, let alone now multiple versions of those people type down.
Yeah. And a whole bunch of new characters.
Oh yeah. Ton of new characters. And does this mean though that like Ned is now going to become a sorcerer? Like
Hobgoblin?
That's a theory, because he becomes Hobgoblin in the comics, doesn't he?
Yeah. And he even had that little line that, like, don't worry, I'm not going to turn into a supervillain and try to kill you.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh,
no,
shit,
you, Ned."
What did you guys think about like Doc Ock transitioning back into being Dr. Octavius, like being back to the man that Peter remembered, not under the control of the tentacles?
Personally, I was hoping for more villainous villains. You know, Doc Ock, I wanted him to be a bad guy the whole time. But honestly, like, I have no complaints with the movie. That's fine. You go ahead. Like, we had Green Goblin to be like the full-on just evil of it. Just a little side note too. I remember first watching the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and I remember being a little disappointed with like the Green Goblin mask, it being, just a piece. But then just seeing Defoe in this one, like, just his face, like, I was good. Amazing.
I think that's the key to it too, is that like a lot of people had that same complaint, Nick. And I think an homage to the fans was him breaking it in the alleyway and like leaving it behind. It was an homage to the fans that like, we get it. It sucked. Let's move on from it and let him be by himself.
And he was absolutely amazing.
Oh man. I'm excited to see what happens. And I also like that they opened the door to bring Venom into that, or vice versa, bring Spider-Man into the Sonyverse. Because I guess what the deal was when they renegotiated was that they're going to either allow Spider-Man to go into the Sony films or the Sony films to come into the Marvel universe. So that mid-credit scene with Eddie Brock like kind of tells you that it's going to go in one of those directions.
Something I thought was interesting, and I feel like this may be the first time this has ever really happened for me, that a movie years upon years down the line was so good that it made some movies that weren't that good better.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, oh shit. Now I can watch those movies and I'm not disappointed anymore. I'm like, oh, I see where we're going here. Even though they didn't plan on this is fucking tight now.
Yeah.
Okay. So that leads me to my next question. Of the three, who is your favorite Spider-Man?
I'm actually love Tom Holland. I'm a Tom Holland guy.
I agree. I'm just a Tom Holland guy. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, he's the dude.
Yeah.
You guys can think I'm trolling. You guys can think I'm crazy. I think Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man.
I knew you were gonna say that.
So
you know what? I love his quirkiness, but to me, he just doesn't. He's not a Peter Parker to me.
See, and that's the thing. This is the same issue I have with Batman. I think Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker. Because Holland plays the Parker role really well. And like, that's more who I see, sort of like the kind of not quite sure who he is kind of character. And then Andrew Garfield, one of the things in the comic books that's really common is Spider-Man, you know, like Deadpool is the merc with a mouth, but Spider-Man was essentially the friendly neighborhood Deadpool. Like, he always had a smart ass remark for everything and made fun of his villains while he was taking them down. So that's kind of why I like that vibe of Andrew Garfield. But I also just recently, like, full disclosure, before we went and saw No Way Home, I watched Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, just in case something happened. And I'd never seen them before.
Same. I knew I was gonna have to watch those because I never cared about the Amazing Spider-Man movies before.
Yeah, but they weren't terrible. Like, I thought they were actually pretty good. I liked Emma Watson as a Gwen Stacy. I know that they kind of got screwed because the popularity of them wasn't very good. They're actually the two lowest rated films of the entire series. It's like those two, then Spider-Man 3, then everything else.
Ouch.
Yeah. Was anybody else hoping that Tobey Maguire would come? Sense. Yeah. Did anybody else hope Tobey Maguire was going to come in as emo Spider-Man?
I hope so now.
Like, he makes a return.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I got a random question for you guys, and I did a thing on Facebook about this, and everyone seems to give me the same answer, which is, I don't feel like is per se the right answer, but it is a answer. Okay, so how would you explain the sound of Spider-Man's web shooters? I know that in the comic book it's thwip. Everyone said that. That's tight. But when you listen to it in real life, that's not what I fucking hear at all. So how would you explain it in your perspective, how it sounds?
See, you already know my answer. If you hear, I mean, like, it's tough. This is tough, but luckily this is an audio-based program. So, you know, it makes sense. If you could see me, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm doing the hand gesture, the most important hand gesture.
That makes it okay.
You have to do that.
Go web, go.
Yeah. Honestly, mine
I think it's Shazam.
Shazam.
I get like a kind of sound out of it. I try to think about it. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, thwip. Someone, whenever they make that sound, I was like, they didn't think about how that was going to come out at all, because there's no way that was going to play in the movie, you know?
Yeah. What do you hear, Nick? What do you hear?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I've ever thought about that. Okay. So now I hear them all. Because if I hear the extra sounds, I'll probably think it's just like, you know, the mechanics calming down, you know, like it just had a burst of pressure all of a sudden, and that extra, it's just okay. Take a breather. Like I hear them all now.
You're gonna be watching the movies later and be like, oh shit, now I can't not.
Yeah, and I think that's why I gave you the look. Like, fuck, now I'm gonna hear this all the time, louder than anything else.
You're gonna yell at the sound mix and be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
that's not thwip.
So, that also brings up another great scene from No Way Home when they're talking about, like, so yours just comes out of you.
Oh,
have you ever had a web block? Has it ever come out of other places?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that they literally took all the things that fans have definitely asked in their lifetimes, and they're just like, yeah, let's just kind of, we're not gonna clear it up, but we're gonna make it a little awkward.
Yeah. I love how Peter, like Tobey Maguire's response was like, yeah, I've had a web block before, but it was more of an existential crisis thing. But part of that conversation too is when like Tom Holland's like, yeah, I was in space. I fought an alien. Tobey Maguire's like, yeah, I fought an alien too. And Andrew Garfield's like, man, I'm lame. I've never fought an alien. I've never been to space. And Tobey Maguire goes, no, you're not lame. You're amazing.
And I was like, see what you did there?
And I've said that a few times around FCF, and she's been like, okay, yeah, that's funny. That's good. And we laughed about it for a while afterwards. But it when I repeat things a little too much, it gets old. And I think I might have run that one's course a little bit.
That's me 100%. I'll run a joke to the damn ground. Okay, what about this? Let's get really nerdy and got questions.
Okay. So
how does Venom get into the MCU? Because remember, he's laying in bed. He didn't know who Spider-Man was, so it's obviously not Doctor Strange's spell that pulls him in. Because he didn't know who Spider-Man was.
So
is that like a Loki thing? Like when Loki was breaking multiverse?
From what I remember, because I haven't seen it yet, the end credit sequence of Let There Be Carnage has him gets him like sucked into the world somehow. Yeah. So it's believed that maybe the symbiote was aware, but not Brock. But the conversation made it seem like there wasn't any. But at the end of the scene, there is a piece of symbiote left over on the counter, and the bartender knows who Spider-Man is.
Not anymore.
No, that's right. But he knows that Spider-Man exists. So I don't know. That's a very good question.
Do we know if that spell works across everything or just that universe?
It opened up the world to the multiverse.
It had to be some kind of necrophilic thing too, because it brought back dead people, which at the same time, why did it not bring Mysterio back? And if it could bring villains from other dimensions, why couldn't it bring Vulture out of jail? Because Vulture also knows who Peter Parker Spider-Man is.
I think
you could have had Sinister 7, really.
Yeah, they were so close to Sinister 6.
Close.
I think that was the point.
Had 2 guys that was available. Now I'm sure that would have been so excited to be a part of this film.
Yeah. I think the theory is that it brought into the world people who already knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man, or in that sense, because Mysterio and Vulture were from that universe. They didn't come into it. I think that was the part of it. And all of them who were dead came in from the point before they had passed away. Like they were like, I was falling down in this tunnel, and then all of a sudden I was here.
Yeah. So why didn't I know I get from like other universes, but like Mysterio, there's not a Mysterio in another universe that knows who he is? Or a Vulture?
The plot thickens.
Those were questions I had. Granted, it's not ruining the film for me because it's honestly the most hyped up film since Endgame, as everybody wanted to see, and delivered.
Yep. What do you got, Mickey? You look like you're processing some stuff.
There's just like, I feel like I'm trying to break it down to the specifics, and like there's just too many specifics, especially like I feel like the answer is always like, oh, it's the multiverse, like, oh,
I mean, of course that does make sense too.
Yeah, that's what DC's trying to do to fix everything, trust me.
I know, right? There's more multiverse, don't worry about it, but like And this is just me, I would have really loved to see the Rhino. He's not even a great character. He's not even my favorite character. But like, we only got one shot at Rhino, and it wasn't very good, but it was there. Like there are still. There are still a bunch of characters that I really want to see. Just even glimpses. Just give me something, a little shot.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, going back to Electro didn't know Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but he got to come.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true. Because
can we also just talk about how great this Electro was compared to the sad Electro last time? Jamie Foxx, yes.
Yeah.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he literally was gonna be like, "Nah, I'm not gonna play him if you make him that dweeby weirdo dork again." Like,
yeah,
I want to be a brute force character, and it was dope that he was using like Stark tech to like bolster himself up. I think that was the Mark IV that they used from the table, that he stole from the table. I thought that was kind of dope. Like, I like how they implemented different aspects of the current universe to help, bolster or strengthen or weaken the characters throughout the story. I thought that was interesting. And I want to give our own Nikki Misery props, because when we first talked about the trailer, you pointed this out. You saw 3 villains and 1 Spider-Man, and you're like, there's no way that that Garfield and Maguire aren't in this movie. You were adamant. You're like, you can see Lizard get hit. Like, there's no question. Someone is there. So props to you, man.
Yeah, that was an interesting trailer when you see that.
Because when you see that,
not only that too, once we saw the trailer where Doc Ock says, "You're not Peter Parker," you're like, all right, this is happening.
Yeah.
Okay, how about questions on this? And this could be just another trailer throwing you loops like the Spider-Man. But let me talk about Morbius for a second. Morbius trailer. You see a big thing for Oscorp. Oscorp doesn't exist in the MCU. But then again, Morbius meets Michael Keaton Vulture. Vulture's in the MCU. Spider-Man with the murderer sign. They still talking Mysterio with that? Or is that supposed to be Gwen Stacy? What is going on?
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, but isn't that Vulture a part of Tom Holland's?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But Oscorp doesn't exist in Tom Holland's MCU, but Oscorp is in the trailer for Morbius.
Oh, so you think maybe he came from somewhere else?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to be like, what's going on? What's going on here?
Well, so I know that Morbius is Sony Universe. It is not MCU. But that's right. I forgot that Keaton crossed over for that.
Yeah.
So that must mean that maybe that gets explained in Morbius then, why Vulture wasn't present in No Way Home.
It's just me overthinking all this stuff, because I watch it like, wait, if Oscorp doesn't exist in this, and I actually was a bit disappointed that Oscorp does not exist in this MCU, even as a smaller company that we just haven't heard yet, just because it hasn't revolved around the main storyline.
Yeah. And the door's still open too, and Jamie Foxx makes a comment about this as Electro. It also opens the door for Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So,
technically, there's already been although I think it was a deleted scene.
Yeah, Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Uncle Aaron. He's Prowler technically.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see how they blend these together. I would love to see how they implement Morbius into it. The trailer I saw before we saw No Way Home, made me actually want to see Morbius. The other trailer I saw made me think it was going to be kind of iffy, but I kind of actually want to see it now.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch them all.
Here's where we go to the classic situation we have in this. I am not pumped for Morbius at all whatsoever.
Why am I not surprised?
I think it's Jared Leto. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Like, I like him as a musician. I like him as an actor, but it's like there's something, and maybe it probably has something to do with it being, like a Sony movie and not like a Marvel movie. There's a feeling to everything in the movie, and you're just like, this could probably, I think this could be better. I have a feeling that this is not going to be exactly what I think it's going to be, And Jared Leto's too pretty sometimes, which is such a plus minus,
It's kind of how I feel about Uncharted. Speaking of Spider-Man and Tom Holland, like I feel like they casted it so weirdly. It just doesn't feel right.
Casting is such an important role. Like, you cannot cast someone because they're popular. You have to cast them because they fit.
Right.
I don't think that because it's Tom Holland, right? Who's in Uncharted? Who's going to be
so it's Tom Holland. If either of you guys played the Uncharted games,
a little.
Okay, so Tom Holland plays Nathan Drake, who is voiced by Nolan North in the game, and the character is modeled after Nathan Fillion. Then you have Sully, who's in the game, who has this like deep cigar-ridden voice, and he's from here. He's not, Mark Wahlberg. The other day I was in Boston and I lifted some weights. Like that's not who I see. J.K. Simmons as Sully, like, and Tom, like they're trying to make it a younger version, and I get that, but it doesn't work. Like I'm gonna see it. It's FCF's favorite video game franchise. I'm gonna see it. I'm excited to see it, but I'm also very, very concerned. They cast.
Did they just Topher Grace those roles?
What?
Did they just Topher Grace those roles?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Also, J.K. Simmons as Jonah again, like this time in like an Alex Jones type role. I fucking loved it.
Yeah. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, casting is too important, and like that's why I think in the first, I guess the first Spider-Man movies and then the next generation of Spider-Man movies, it was like I wonder if that played somewhat of a role into it. But then, like I said, this movie was so put together and so thought out and so good that regardless of your casting, regardless of the movie, regardless of everything that fucking happened, you made all of those people, those actors, and the characters themselves tight again. And that's a great fucking movie.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I was gonna point out real quick. Oh, how cool was the out of body when Doctor Strange punches Peter's astral projection out of him and he's moving the box around purely by instinct. I was like, that was fucking cool. That's not the first instance we've seen that though. You see Wanda at the end of WandaVision being able to astral project and do other things while her physical form is moving. Because normally when Strange did it when he first started, he wasn't able to control his body. He would have to be asleep or be near death. Yeah. Does that mean that Peter is potentially of a higher ability in terms of like being able to control himself, or was that purely instinct?
I would say purely instinct, because like it even happens to Hulk, remember? And like Hulk's just kind of dead out,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So those Spidey sense things, he just kind of exists, and his body is what it is, and his mind is what it is. Maybe that has something to do with, being bitten by a radioactive spider. But
one cool thing about that scene, and like I only saw the movie twice, and I really tried to look for it the second time. I want to say I kind of saw it, but when he's in that outer body experience, they say like his spider senses, you could see it like in the old like 90s animation.
Yeah.
The little horn thing.
There was a ton of fucking Easter eggs in this.
Yes, there were. And that's one of the best parts about Marvel movies is the Easter eggs.
Yeah, because you had like there was like a license plate that had like the like one of the license plates on the bridge, when Doc Ock appears, is like the year, volume, and issue number of his first appearance in the Amazing Spider-Man comic books.
How crazy is that?
And then I didn't know that. I had to read that. Shout out to whoever posted that shit on IMDb. I'm not that deep into the Spider-Man lore. But there were like other ones as well. Like when Electro first powers up, you see the old classic Electro mask come across.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted this entire time for Electro. When they had the blue one, I was like, what's this? What is this?
And I like that they commented on some of that shit. Like, he's like, I like the power in this universe feels different. And it's yellow this time instead of blue. So he's talking about the differences in the universes. And it's because they wanted to go back to the traditionals. I think Watts, the director, wanted to make this more as like a tribute to, the 90s fans, like the ones who watched the cartoon as a kid.
Yeah.
Which I found all the little nuances were awesome. Like the nanotech taking over the I don't know why I struggle with the word tentacles. The like how he knew that the material would work to like create and take over, because the explanation I read on IMDb was that the arms are made with nanotech from Oscorp, the tentacles were, and then Stark used nanotech to make that suit so they can combine and work together. So he knew he could control it when he saw it was developed with nanotechnology.
Yeah, they were actually rewatching all the Spider-Man movie. I think Defoe in the first Spider-Man was even mentioning nanotech.
Mm-hmm.
It was in like the first two Spider-Man, like they were already mentioning nanotech. I remember telling my mom, I was like, you know what nanotech is? That's how I was able to do that.
Also, can we just applaud the fact that they threw in, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
Oh,
he
yes.
was in the cell.
Yes.
I was like, oh, and FCF started clapping. She's like, this is awesome. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what happens next. And just, I feel like they did such a good job. Like, I feel like they did a great job. I would want to see Rhino as well, Mickett, but I don't know if I would cast Paul Giamatti as Rhino.
No, not at all.
Well, unfortunately, now it's too late, because we've learned that everyone else in the other, universes, like that's who they're cast as now,
Yeah.
But then again, Cersei from Eternals was also Minerva and Captain Marvel, so they could be two different characters. How about Rhodes? Rhodey was played by two different people.
Okay.
We could do it. I just realized my first comparison was not at all.
Michelle Yeoh is in Shang-Chi, and she's also one of the Ravagers leaders in Guardians 2.
Yeah. And isn't Peter Quill's mom the same lady that was dancing with Captain America? That little hussy.
I think so. I just watched Guardians 2 like 2 nights ago because I'm lame and have been trying to get back into making sure I have everything. We still have to watch Eternals. That's the last one, and then we're all caught up.
Also, how is watching Guardians 2 lame? That just means you're awesome and you have taste.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm lame because it's
that means you don't have COVID.
It's lame because it's the first time I've seen it was 2 nights ago.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Michael the boys.
Yeah. I'm ashamed. Trust me. I've been very very disappointed in myself on that front. That it took me that long to see it.
That was great, wasn't it? Did you love it?
It was awesome. It was really good. It was fantastic. You feel horrible for Rocket at points, and then you're like, you brought this upon yourself, you fucking trash panda.
Yeah.
It's worse. It's so much worse.
That's like waiting to eat your dinner once it gets cold. You're like, okay, now it's time to eat.
Yeah, I know. But I'm working on it.
Nikki, if you were a part of anything in the MCU, I think you would be a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, to be honest.
Yeah. Would I be Ravager? Because I kind of am a trash panda. Just see the way I eat at work. It's
pretty aggressive.
Always saying something ridiculous and getting out of a sticky situation. Like
true.
Yep.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, I would be a Ravager.
What would you be, Mickey? What would you be in the MCU?
I don't know. I can't decide for myself. From what you guys know, what's like place? What movie would I be in?
I honestly think Mickey would be a very Tony Stark like individual. Okay. I kind of see him as an Avenger. Like he's very intelligent. He's fucking handy as shit. Rich.
Rich.
Look at that facial hair. Stark.
Right? I cut weird shapes into it. I his character, but every time I see his beard, I'm like, what the fuck you doing, dog?
I was wondering that too.
Yeah,
Rest
you
in peace, Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you guys have only known me for a little over a year now, but where would you put me in the MCU?
MCU. What other teams are there? Definitely not Eternals, because I was.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I feel like I could easily put you as like a character in Asgard.
Okay.
You know?
Ooh.
Right? It kind of like even just like the way that you look, the way that you act, it's very just like, all right, this is it. This is where we live here in Asgard. We don't fuck around about, all this stuff. Like it is what it is. We could still have fun, but like it's like boisterous fun.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking a Coulson like in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ooh.
Put him behind a desk.
I could be the secretary from Thor.
No,
who's like, oh yeah, we have these. We use these as paperweights.
I was like, you're thinking like running the show, handling the situation for this. I'm like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You didn't even get a movie. You put him in a show.
Dude, hey. Coulson brought the Avengers together.
Thank you.
You're like, fought the Swarm.
We did all. We're in these movies, but you could be an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What's up?
Hey man. I shot Loki.
What other teams there are?
I shot Loki through a wall, bro. I shot Loki through a wall, and then my dying words are, "Oh, that's what that does." I mean, come on.
Then Samuel Jackson brought you back to life, and you had your own show for a while.
Hell yeah, I ran it for like 8 seasons.
And he got to come back in Captain Marvel,
Yeah. Rest in peace, Coulson, too. Damn. So much death.
Coulson was it.
Straight up. I actually think he's one of FCF's favorite characters.
Really?
That's my mom's favorite character is Coulson.
Yeah, she loves Coulson. Every time he's on the screen, like because Avengers was on the other day. Because TNT and all those channels run all those as often as possible. But it was that scene where Loki's escaping and he shoots the gun and is like after he's been stabbed, and she's like, "Oh, Coulson," and then like she gets like misty eyed when he dies, and I'm like, "Oh man, like she really loves these characters." We'll have to, one of these episodes, I'll have to get her on when we talk about the MCU, because obviously, like, I live here and my DC influence does not extend into the living room. Because we have that. My mom gave her this Spider-Man blanket and like a Santa hat for Christmas. And then we have there's a Miles Morales disc plate right over my shoulder. Like, I have Captain Marvel. Edit.
Nobody has Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Captain America and a shield to my left. Guardians of the Galaxy to my right. We have another Captain Shield over there. We have some more Marvel stuff in the bedroom. Like, it's a Marvel house in this house. And I definitely got I learned to embrace it more and have enjoyed it more with someone else who's really enjoyed it as well.
Are they full size Captain America shields?
No, they are like, one's like a plastic replica, It's small, and then the other one's made of glass, and it's like a serving dish.
Oh,
it's pretty dope.
I was like, so we cannot throw that one.
No.
well,
Actually, one of our engagement photos, I have a batarang, and she has one of the plastic captain's shield, and we're like fighting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, short story time. On my first tour that I ever went on, right? We were somewhere in like Utah or some shit like that. And we happened to stop by this mall because we had some extra time, and there was a Hot Topic, and on sale in the back of a bunch of t-shirts for $50 was a full-size Captain America shield, right? And I was like, I'm doing it. And they're like, there's like 3 weeks left of the tour. We're in a van. Where are we gonna put that? And I was like,
Trailer.
Yeah, I don't care. It's happening. And I slept with that for 3 weeks, and now it sits on my door.
Hell yeah.
USA, USA, USA.
Oh man, dude, that's awesome. You'll have to send me a picture of that to show FCF, because that's her favorite. So Captain America is 100% her favorite. Spider-Man is mine. So like, I was invested in No Way Home anyway. So wait, Nikki, did you say Captain's yours as well?
What?
Your favorite?
No way.
In the MCU?
Yeah.
Captain was amazing. Like, honestly, I never cared about Captain like before. And then like once I got into the MCU, I was like, wow, Captain America is freaking awesome. I don't know if I actually have a favorite. I know growing up, like I was very into the Spider-Verse because like the symbiotes, like Carnage, Maximum Carnage was one of my favorite storylines. So obviously I was upset with the Venom movie.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen, but I'm planning on it soon. Don't worry. We can talk about that another time.
I haven't seen it.
We don't need to do an episode on that.
I would just like to say watch it because I hate if I'm the only person that burns my hand on something. So I would like you guys to feel pain as well.
Like Mortal Kombat? Got it.
Yeah. Actually, that I do not wish upon even my worst enemies.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh my God, Cole Young. I haven't thought about that stupid name in so long.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It's a running joke. We have to run with it. It's just how it is. Do you have a favorite, Mickey?
It's Captain America, actually.
Okay.
There's something about and it's not even because he's Captain America. I think it's just what he stands for as a person. You know, it's always like I've always felt like a little guy. So like watching the little guy turn into a big guy and then, you know, punch out Nazis. Like, I think there's a little guy in all of us, a little person in all of us that's always been like, yeah, that's who I'd want to be.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That was such a cool thing. And like Chris Evans was such a perfect Captain America. Going along with casting, 100%.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that they did really well with all of the characters. I think that's why it worked. Like even replacing Edward Norton with Mark Ruffalo, like that transition was perfect because I feel like the way that he played the character was really strong. But like all of these actors could do anything else now and be fine. But I feel like they nailed their roles as characters. And that partly could be writing, but I think the look, the image of those characters is exactly what we as fans or people looking at it wanted to see and got.
I actually really like Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. There's something about like Edward Norton and the other guy,
Eric Bana.
Is that his name? That's kind of funny.
He's Australian.
Like there's something about them that I didn't get like a scientist-y kind of vibe, you know. But Mark Ruffalo is such an opposite to who Hulk is. I'm like, all right, no, this is beautiful. I like the way this worked out.
I always hope for someone a little bit more tormented, but I do really love Mark Ruffalo. And actually, I do have an answer for my favorite character in the MCU because now, as confirmed they're in the MCU, I'm going with Daredevil.
Yeah. Okay.
Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Honestly, like that entire series is one of my favorite just pieces of anything. If you can make that into a movie, it would be my favorite MCU movie.
I think they're talking about him having a movie, but I'm not sure. They might do a show again.
Yeah.
But
Either
I
way,
did
just keep him.
I did like the implementation of wait, hold on. Have you guys watched Hawkeye yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved the implementation of Kingpin, and don't worry, he ain't dead. There's no way that motherfucker's dead.
No way. All you did was hear a gunshot. Anything could happen. This, bam. You know, like anything could happen.
Yeah. I am stoked that is in now. I'm waiting for them to adopt the other Netflix shows and see what happens, maybe, because I feel like Luke Cage had opportunity, Jessica Jones had opportunity, so it'll be interesting to see how those blend into the universe. But I think the fact that they've confirmed Matt Murdock is in MCU and like that whole section opens the door for so much more. And to put in my last 2 cents about this, I'm excited for Blade, and I want to see what it's going to be like. I want to see
Blade will fight Morbius one day.
Yeah.
And for that too.
I'm curious to see how Mahershala Ali plays him, because I think that's going to be dope.
Yeah, because he was pretty menacing in Luke Cage too.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I wanted to go back to. Those shows were already confirmed in MCU when they started, when they had the whole Avengers Battle in New York, like on their newspapers.
Oh yeah.
Whether the MCU wants to admit or not or brush them under, they part of the damn story already. And I did love how yes. And I did love how for the Defenders you purposely left out Iron Fist because that was garbaggio.
I didn't want to talk about it.
The rest of them. Jessica Jones was awesome. I love that show. Luke Cage was cool. I enjoyed watching that.
But Punisher for sure.
Punisher. Nobody can beat John Bernthal for Punisher. Bernthal.
That last name's rough, bro.
It is. But I would hate to disrespect him because I feel like if I said his last name wrong, he would give me that look. I'd just be like, Nicky Rousseau.
John Bernthal.
Bernthal.
As long as it's not Thomas Jane, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dolph Lundgren played him too. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oof. I love that we still kept it within the MCU for almost 99% of the episode. Which, is rare for us because we normally, diatribe into other universes. But we did a great job for our first one back. Happy 2022 to all of us as well. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's.
Yeah, we took a holiday hiatus, and we want to thank you guys for coming back with us. I actually had someone reach out to me a couple of days ago and be like, "Are you guys releasing another episode?" So we have fans, guys. We have fans.
I thought it was just me that watched myself going, that was stupid. You're dumb.
Someone in Ash's camp commented on Instagram about the Halloween episode to her. Their comment was something along the lines of, I did what I was told not to do, and now I'm laughing forever. They
That's a long time.
Yeah, they watched it.
Take a breath.
So, all right, gents. Well, that's another episode. First one in the books for 2022. And with that being said, I'm Michael.
I'm Matt Murdock.
I'm Bernthal.
And this was a Star Wars podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Oh, man.